Welcome to the Daily Parks and Rec Show from the CPRS Conference 2026. In this episode, we sit down with Jason Hermes from Amilia, a leader in recreation management software that's helping agencies rethink how they serve their communities. From building meaningful partnerships to leveraging open API technology, Jason shares how smarter, more flexible systems are transforming parks and recreation, from staff workflows to the customer experience. We'll also dive into the real challenges agencies face today, like outdated systems, inefficiencies, and growing expectations, and how innovative solutions are creating smoother, more self-serve, Amazon-like experiences for communities everywhere. If you're looking to future-proof your department and elevate your impact, this is a conversation you don't want to miss. Let's dive in.
All right, we are live again. This is Craig LeBlanc, the Daily Parks and Rec Show, here live from CPRS 2026. And I have the guy that is the instigator for our latest addition to the strategic partnership team. Amilia is an unbelievable software company. And if it weren't for his constant efforts of making sure that we got in touch with the right leadership on his company, we wouldn't have been able to attend the Parks and Rec conference that we went to in Illinois. So, Jason, really want to thank you for doing that, staying on it. Really appreciate it.
Likewise, I appreciate it. I remember the first time I saw one of your podcasts, I was scrolling through LinkedIn. I'm a big podcast guy as it is. I'm like, who is this guy? This is really interesting stuff. I wonder if people are watching this. And then I would reach out to some friends in Texas and Illinois. Like, have you checked this out? And so, yeah, I was bugging everybody at work. That's one thing I love about Amilia is they're very mindful of who they decide to partner with. And there's a ton of mutual, similarities. And I think you guys have the right approach as far as what you're trying to do and the mission that you're accomplishing and the message that you're getting out to the public and to the community. And it was a no-brainer, so it's been really nice, and I definitely look forward to the remainder of the year as well.
Yeah, well, I really appreciate that. Now, where do you think that culture comes from in y'all's company? Was that y'all's founder that it kind of instilled that, that mindfulness of being very strategic about who you partner with? It had to be deep in the founding.
I don't have to go all the way in the back, but yeah, I think Francois definitely was very mindful of that. His son Sam Gouet is the head of he's the director of our strategic partnerships. So when I came to Amilia, that was one thing that was really, really impressive to me because there were some limitations at some other organizations. Like, yes, it's one thing to say you have an open API, but to be really, really mindful of who does what, best in breed in the markets they serve. What was the product actually developed to accomplish, and how can we recommend the best in class software to the customers that we serve so that their business improves, their resident experience improves. And it's not just Parks and Rec, it's YMCA's, it's JCC's, small business. So they're very meticulous in that. But I think that partnership ecosystem has grown to just over 40. Which is great. It just gives so many people the flexibility to, look into whatever's going to be best for them from both a business and an organization standpoint, but also, the functionality of the different platforms.
Yeah. As for those who don't know, what does it mean to have an open API, and why is that important to kind of, gatekeep who attaches yourself to your software or themselves to your software?
Good question. I'm laughing because my solutions engineer is going to laugh when he sees this because I'm going to steal his analogy, but very similar to building a bridge, right? So it takes effort on behalf of both organizations. So on the Amilia side, there's efforts that we need to do in developing, one section of the bridge, and then at the organizational level, their IT team is involved with building that integration, either through, the software that they're leveraging. Sometimes the company will do that. Other times it's more on the shoulders of the IT team.
Okay, we're back. All right, as you were. What were you saying?
You're good. On the API of the bridge example, so
Yeah.
I don't know where we got cut off, but it just gives organizations and agencies so much more flexibility to be nimble, to scale, to be able to accommodate future growth. Whether that's integrated with league scheduling software like Team Sidelines or Quick Scores. Maybe they want to integrate with their financial systems because everybody kind of has their own preference in that regard. So it just allows them more flexibility and freedom to kind of do what their policies allow for or what the goals of the city or the organization are. It just gives you so much more flexibility and nimbleness in what the actual platform can do. And then also on the back end, I mean, you're pulling all that data and analytics, and if you have the right team, and that's very, very powerful information that you can do a lot with whether that's grant writing, proposal requests, development, future planning and master planning. So many different tools at your disposal. So, in my opinion, that would be one of the biggest benefits of that API.
Yeah. Yep. And big shout out to Productive Parks. They were actually the ones that, as soon as you got in touch with me, they had already mentioned y'all. And so I was like, okay, we've got a couple of people wanting us to partner with Amilia. So let's talk a little bit about software. When you go into a Parks and Rec department, what are some of the struggles that you see they're having with their current software, and what kind of solutions do y'all kind of bring?
Before the game, before the lights, before the pressure, there's a moment most people never see. Welcome to The Athlete's Commute, a podcast distributed by DPRS Media Network, co-produced by Her Sports, and hosted by Jordan Ziff. Each episode, Jordan gets behind the wheel, driving athletes to practice, to training, to game day, while getting to know who they really are beyond the jersey. The mindset, the grind, the sacrifices, the moments no one talks about. No scripts, no filters, just real conversations in real motion. Because every athlete has a journey, and every journey deserves to be heard. This is The Athlete's Commute. Buckle up. In today's parks and recreation industry, communication, safety, and efficiency go hand in hand. That's where Outdoor Link comes in, delivering smart technology that empowers city departments and community planners to do more, smarter. Outdoor Link's platform connects and automates everything that keeps your parks running smoothly, from lighting and locks to signage, water features, Wi-Fi, and digital advertising. Control and schedule park lights for safety and energy savings. Remotely manage facility access, update digital displays in real time, coordinate fountains and splash pads, provide public connectivity, and even run community or sponsorship campaigns on digital screens, all from one simple, unified platform, giving you real-time control, data, and cost efficiency. For parks and recreation agencies, that means safer spaces, smarter resource use, faster responses, and stronger community engagement. And behind every great park story is great infrastructure. That's why Outdoor Link proudly supports DPRS Media Company, helping the daily Parks and Rec show amplify the voices of professionals shaping our communities every day. Outdoor Link, smart, connected solutions for parks, recreation, and beyond.
All right, we're back. Thank you, Joby, for covering for us. Okay, so what were we talking about?
We were talking about what's the biggest frustration
Oh,
with
yes,
agencies
yes.
with software.
That's right.
So I think across the board, it is cumbersome, ease of use, user experience on the staff side, also on the constituent side. It's kind of like tearing off a Band-Aid, however, so, people have gotten accustomed to the workarounds that they've developed. A lot of folks, walk into the organization, taught themselves what they know and what they're able to manage with little to no support. So what I love about agencies and Parks and Rec, and they wear so many different hats. if we can save them any time at all from fielding phone calls or from spending time on the side of their desk duplicating programs or making edits, issuing credits. So they all seem to know that it's what they have works kind of for what they're trying to do, but in a perfect world, they would love to be able to wave a magic wand and fix XYZ, have a really good looking website, have a seamless user experience, but at the same time be able to kind of gatekeep and control some of what's going on with the facility bookings and that type of stuff. So providing a solution that is actually able to provide that experience, combined with the fact that there's a lot of youth has been injected into leadership roles. And I mean, we are in 2026. Folks are super savvy with AI. So there's so many more tools at their disposal, but I think the appetite for change is definitely there. And I think we really saw that post-COVID, but especially in 2025, 2026.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite parts. That's usually the first conversation. And then trying to show them, here's how you could do the same thing differently. And here's what it would save you in regards to time. So you could go ahead and do, X, Y, Z, and get back to your actual job.
Yeah, and for those of you who've listened, if you haven't seen, we did this with Amilia. Actually, we recorded from their booth when we were in Illinois, and was it Michael that did an actual demo, pulled into the account and kind of, showed us how the car drives and everything. And one of the things I thought was amazing is that it's so user friendly, the user interface on the iPhone, so that people or parents can register their children for membership or registering for the camps or anything like that, and they never even have to involve somebody from the Parks and Rec facility.
Yeah, so that's interesting as well, because from a client or a customer standpoint, that can be a little scary because they are used to having that level of control. And I mean, sometimes things go wrong or camps fill up and they're used to having to field those phone calls. So giving that freedom to the constituents is a little bit like kind of looking off of a 10-story balcony.
Right.
But the folks that have made the dive, I think across the board, all of our transactions for every customer is over 80% self-serve.
Yeah.
And so that's been really, really unique. And the cool thing about Amilia too is you can do the admin side off a tablet as well if you want to. I do some of the demos from the booth off the iPad, and it looks as well as it does on a desktop.
Yeah.
So from a staff side, if you're in the field and you want to take attendance, there's a field trip, you have kids coming off the bus, you could literally be doing that, contacting emergency contacts, getting waivers completed. There's so many different use cases, but so yes, on the constituent side and the client-facing side, for sure. I think what we need to do is tell a better story about the fact that that's completely doable on the administrative side too. So many different things you can do.
And I kind of describe that as almost like the Amazon experience. I've never spoken with anybody on Amazon, and I've basically filled out my whole information, registered myself, and get stuff shipped all the time. And so you can have a very similar user experience using your software at the community level when you're signing people up for stuff, correct?
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's a 1, 2, 3 Amazon experience is the best way that I would describe it. Not to, I don't want to get in trouble by Amazon.
Yeah, they did a great job pioneering that functionality. All right, so let's talk about California Parks and Rec.
Oh, these guys are killing it.
Yeah.
They do such a great job.
Yeah.
I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No. So what's been your experience here? How many times have you been to this actual?
Oh, that's a loaded question. So the last time that I was in this building, this is a really unique coming back experience for me. It was COVID, March 12th, 2020, D-Day. They announced over the loudspeaker, conference canceled.
No way.
Social distancing.
Oh my God.
It's kind of like The Walking Dead, And so I'm sitting there like, oh my gosh, how am I going to get back home? Like maybe I should.
Middle of the convention?
Yeah.
It
was on the third day, and then as we came outside, and there was thousands of us in the top foyer, huge thunderstorm. It was like kind of biblical almost.
Yeah,
everybody ended up going out having a good time, and so and that's why briefly I kind of stepped away. Is things kind of hit pause during that time.
Right.
Other than that, that's really the only one I've missed. I was in the one in Sacramento last year. I just think as a whole across the board, the CPRS team across every region and every district is so hyper involved. They're so open to feedback. They all collaborate and work with each other. I was just having that conversation last night about executive directors and community service directors fielding phone calls for referrals as to what do you use for this? What do you use for software? Would you recommend us doing that? which I didn't really even stop to think that could be a thing, but it really is. And some of the time they're experts in certain solutions. Other times they're not. That's why they would bring in a vendor at some point. So that's one thing that I've been doing a lot in the new year, is actually sponsoring some of those regional events, just being there to do workshops, watch how these folks operate, network. We were lucky enough to do that with the District 6 team last week in Watsonville, California. Shout out to Joey Barrera, who's the outgoing president, actually phenomenal guy. And so once that happened, it just kind of started happening across all of the regions. So Region 2, Region 5, Region 1, and it's just been really cool because it's all been peer-led, and they're so busy just making sure that they're doing their utmost best for the communities. It's been really great to watch, and the conference has been amazing. So.
Yeah, Stephanie and their team just do a great job, so I really appreciate that. Well, Jason, thank you so much for coming on the show today and sharing with us. Look, I really appreciate you coming on board with us and helping to connect us to Amilia, and thank y'all for sponsoring the show.
Anytime, and likewise. Absolute pleasure. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it. Well, have a great rest of your convention.
You too.
That's a wrap, Jovi.
All right.
Are you a vendor, brand, or service provider ready to connect with the heartbeat of local communities? At DPRS Media Co., we tell the stories shaping parks and recreation across America. Through podcasts, live streams, videos, and newsletters, we reach frontline leaders, city directors, and decision makers every single week. From youth sports and facilities to programming and policy, our audience is your audience. Sponsoring or partnering with DPRS Media Co. puts your brand in front of the professionals who build, budget, and buy for their communities. Launching a new product, growing your presence in public spaces, targeting cities, counties, or departments, DPRS is your trusted media partner. Whether you're in software, turf, aquatics, robotics, smart cities, or special events, partnering with DPRS puts your brand in the story. With commercials, interviews, social campaigns, newsletters, and live shows, we're your media team. Partner with us and grow your impact in the $200 billion parks and rec industry. DPRS Media Co. Stories that move parks and rec forward. Your audience is here. Let's meet them.